They wasted $2.5 billion, and we still don't know what happened to a large majority of that money. In terms of disclosures, super PACs don't have to be as transparent as campaigns do, but we do know that they wasted millions of dollars on celebrities, on oligarchs like Oprah and Beyonce and Cardi B and all of them, and then lied about it. And frankly, a lot of the revelations that came out in Fight, I've been saying for months actually. So I feel like the authors kind of repackaged a lot of what I said. And one thing that they didn't highlight was the role of Congressman James Clyburn. It wasn't just Kamala Harris pushing for the endorsement on the same day. Congressman Clyburn played a pivotal role in pushing Biden to that point because he initially wanted to just wallow, he wanted to bask in the glory of having stepped down. He wanted to be seen as a patriotic statesman for the entire week. But Kamala Harris and James Clyburn, who insisted that he endorsed Kamala Harris in short order, changed the trajectory that Biden initially wanted.
We had former mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio, on Prime recently. He was talking about the Democrats' deep bench, that he's not worried about them putting forward someone who's going to be really successful in the next presidential election. What is that deep bench? Who do you believe is most likely to get that support going forward in the next presidential run?
With all due respect, I find that a very comical thing to say, given that there's a flaw in every single one of the candidates they consider qualified. I've been in touch with Newsom's team for a number of years now. He reached out in 2022 asking for my support. And if anyone asks for my support and you're based in California, I'm assuming you're running for president. So this has been a long time goal of his. I was a national fundraiser. So anyone reaching out to me across the country, I'm assuming has his eyes set on the White House because I'm a national fundraiser and I live in a battleground state of Pennsylvania. Gavin Newsom is using his podcast and this new platform to position himself in the middle. But we have to remember that California is on the frontier of woke ideology, of extreme liberal policies, ideas that push me out of the party. I've been asking the party to moderate itself for half a decade, but when I raised criticisms, people like AOC would try to cancel me online. And so these sort of tactics, there's no room for dissension. You have to follow the party line or else you're excommunicated.
Yeah, tell me more about this. Do you feel that Gavin Newsom is trying to fix his wokeness? We're seeing a media blitz, we're seeing his podcast, and sort of a shift towards center. Let's take a listen together to what he said on Bill Maher a week ago.
These guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now. It's one thing to make noise, but you also have to make sense. And I think with this podcast and having the opportunity to dialogue with people I disagree with, it's an opportunity to try to find common ground and not take cheap shots. I'm not looking to put a spoke in the wheel of their, or at least a crowbar in the spokes of their wheel to trip them up, to your point. And I think it's important. Democrats, we tend to be a little more judgmental than we should be.
Okay, Lindy, help us break through the noise here. What are we seeing right now from Gavin Newsom? What is the game plan?
Natasha, I have to say that everything that we just heard from him makes me a little bit ill, to be honest, because I was one of the few people who had the guts to buck the party and urge Biden to step aside due to his cognitive decline. But Gavin Newsom was on the front lines of defending Biden. He wasn't just a defender and champion of Biden. He was the strongest. He debated DeSantis on the national stage. He went out of his way to, frankly, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He lied to the American people about the fitness of the president. He went out there again and again and said he was fine. Meanwhile, people like me were punished for telling the truth, for basically reflecting reality, for having the guts to say the emperor has no clothes. So I am not buying this, whatever this is, this new public relations project that he's undergoing. And frankly, what happened with the California fires and the way that he handled that mom, I don't know if you saw the viral clip, the very nonchalant way that he handled this disaster that impacted millions of people in his state should disqualify him. He should not be running for president. He should be doing everything he can to rejuvenate his own state.
All right, Lindy, we've been looking at the images on the screen here, the hands-off protests that are happening across the country. Is this a good strategy for the Democrats as they work to pick back up here? And do you think this is just an echo chamber? Aren't these all people who just did not vote for Trump anyways?
Right. It's giving Women's March, which actually turned out to be a catastrophe. I don't know if you remember, but there was a huge internal dissensions and the organization basically fell apart. These marches they're a good visual, but what does it actually do? They don't have any power in the House and the Senate, and that's what actually matters. So yes, he had a good showing this previous Tuesday, but we will see what happens. I'm a little nervous about just the fallout from the tariffs. We'll see what happens in the next 30 to 60 days, and if other countries can come to the table and we can all get to zero tariffs. But I think that's actually the game changer, not these shenanigans on the streets, but what actually happens in the markets to the economy and to inflation. These are the major determinants of what's going to happen in the midterms in 2026.
Okay, and Lindy, I know your book Unburdened will be coming out very shortly. It is an expose. We will be looking for it, and we want to have you back on the show to talk about it. Lindy Li, thank you so much for your time tonight. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.